Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Surviving Narcissism Together. I hope everyone is doing okay today. So, have you ever felt like, you reached a point after your narcissistic abuse where the relationship is over, right? The trauma bond is finally broken. You're not worrying about the narcissist, you're not worrying about the new supply, the constant rumination has stopped, but somehow you still don't feel like yourself. See, no one really talks about this stage. Everyone talks about leaving the narcissist, or going no contact with the narcissist, or even healing from the obsession of the narcissist. But what happens after that? See, when the narcissist is no longer occupying your thoughts every minute of the day, you tend to feel like you're lost. You feel like you're disconnected from life, and this is where I found myself. For a long time, I thought I had the perspective that healing meant getting over them. But when I finally got over the narcissist, I still didn't feel like myself. I still didn't feel whole. See, I thought that healing meant reaching a place where I no longer cared what they were doing and who they were with or whether they thought about me again. And that's part of it, don't get me wrong. And I eventually got there when the obsession faded. I didn't have the need for answers. I didn't have the urgency to check their social media. The fantasy that they would suddenly realize my worth and come back with an apology, it finally disappeared. But what I wasn't prepared for was what came next. That emptiness, that sunken feeling, that like I was just existing and not living. And that's not because I miss the narcissist, but because somewhere in that relationship I lost myself. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, guys, your life, it slowly starts revolving around another person's emotions, needs, moods, validation. So you become so vigilant. You monitor every conversation. You analyze every text. You anticipate every reaction. You spend so much energy trying to maintain peace that you stop asking yourself a very important question: what do I want? So by the time the relationship ends, you don't even know the answer anymore. I knew what they wanted. I knew what would upset them. I knew what pleased them. I knew what version of myself they preferred. But I didn't know me. And that realization hit harder than the breakup itself. Would you believe that? See, once the chaos was gone and once I was left standing face to face with someone I barely recognized, I I just felt like there was just a darkness within me. For a while, I expected myself to bounce back quickly. I thought, with time I'd be okay. I thought that I'd become excited about dating again. I thought that I'd feel ready to meet someone new. I thought I'd feel eager to start over. But instead, I just felt tired. I just felt deeply tired, not physically, but just emotionally and mentally. The thought of getting to know someone new felt exhausting. The thought of trusting someone again felt exhausting. The thought of opening up and becoming vulnerable again felt exhausting. And honestly, for the first time in my life, I didn't want a relationship. Not because I was bitter and not because I hated love, but because I realized how much of myself I had abandoned in the pursuit of being loved. And I wasn't looking for another person anymore. I was looking for me. So there was a strange grief in that realization. I believe that that's a grief that many survivors don't talk about. You see, you grieve the relationship, and then you grieve the person you thought they were. But now you start grieving the version of yourself that existed before the abuse even happened. That version, that confident version, carefree version, that version that trusted easily, that version that was bubbly, that wasn't second guessing every decision, that wasn't looking over their shoulder. That grief can be incredibly silent but incredibly painful. Because unlike the narcissist, you can't simply walk away from that grief. That's your grief. You have to sit with it. You can't put a band-aid on it. You have to rebuild. You have to rediscover who you are. So my advice, one small piece at a time. I started asking myself simple questions. What music do I actually enjoy? What hobbies did I abandon? What goals did I put on hold? What makes me happy when nobody is watching? That, I think, is the most important question. And you know what? At first, I didn't have the answers, and that's okay. Healing isn't about instantly becoming who you were before. In many ways, that person no longer exists. Because after what you've been through, you've become a new person. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because through this process, I realized that I wasn't meant to go backward. I was meant to become someone new, someone wiser, someone with stronger boundaries, and someone who trusts themselves more. Today, I still don't have a strong desire to be in a relationship. And for the first time, I don't see that as a problem. You see, society tells us that being single is a waiting room, and that we're supposed to be searching for our next partner, and that healing is complete once we find someone new. But that's not the truth. Sometimes healing looks like just enjoying your own company, and it looks like protecting your peace. Sometimes healing, spending months, even years, learning who you are with someone else's influence is what healing could be. And that's enough. In fact, it's more than enough. So if you're in that stage right now where the relationship is over, the rumination has faded, but you still feel that sort of disconnection from yourself, I want you to know something. You're not going backwards and you're not failing. You're not stuck. What you're experiencing may be one of the most crucial parts of recovery, because for the first time, the focus is no longer on them and it's on you. So that feeling could be very unfamiliar and even uncomfortable, but it is where real healing begins. Now, when you stop thinking about them and you start dating again and you get that closure, you can start building a relationship. But until then, build a relationship with yourself. A relationship, it's based on self-respect, self-trust, self-compassion, self-discovery. The journey, yes, it's going to take time, but you have to put that effort in. And you know what? Unlike the relationship you survived, this one is worth every moment. So maybe that's what healing really is. Not becoming who you were before, but finally becoming who you were always meant to be. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for listening to this video. Healing takes time, so don't be hard on yourself. Narcissism is a really intense topic, and it's an intense realization. You have to sit with it, you have to feel everything. But I do promise, if you take the steps, if you do the work, you will become whole again. Okay, so thank you for watching, and bye for now.